Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I am, of course, GeneralLotz, and we are back with more Return to Castle Wolfenstein, and we are entering one of my other favorite levels of the game. This, of course, is the Secret Weapons Factory. And, you know, the thing about Wolfenstein is they don't make it, well, it's World War II, of course, so it can't be that cheery, but at the same time, they really could have made this a lot worse than it actually is. Because one thing that you have to realize, when you study World War II, you can just study the weapons, and that's what a lot of people do. It's like, oh, yeah, the tanks are really cool and all that. Sadly, when you study more of it, you find out just how horrible the Nazis really were. And, you know, while it's easy to respect the average German trooper, like that guy that we're shooting at, well, I think he might be an SS man, so it's a little harder to respect that guy than not. But, that being said, likely this secret weapons factory likely uses slave labor. Just saying. See, that's one big problem that people have these days, is when they think slavery, they always think immediately of the American South. And, well, it's actually much worse than that, ladies and gentlemen. Slavery hasn't gone away. Yeah, the American-style slavery has long since been gone and was actually already dying out to begin with. But slavery still exists, and slavery has existed in more countries than just the U.S. I don't understand why people don't know this. It's a very easy thing to search, but I guess that would take too much effort. So yeah, one of the things the Nazis like to do is they actually used a lot of forced labor, or slavery. So likely the secret weapons factory we're infiltrating uses slave labor, which really came back to bite them bad, though, is... Come to find out, when you don't feed your workers, when you don't, you know, not kill them, they like to, you know, sabotage your highly sensitive military equipment, which is exactly what happened with the V-2 rockets. They used forced labor for that, and under really, really appalling conditions. That is something that is very depressing to study. It's like, you know, you can study that tank, but once you realize how that tank was likely made, it makes it a little bit less enjoyable to study about. But I still enjoy, you know, studying the technical aspects of the war. But you have to keep in mind that World War... That's why people saying it's their favorite war to study. It really shouldn't be. It should be an interesting war to study. Because once you start learning just how bad World War II was, start really looking at the lists of dead, that's when you realize that, yeah, maybe it's better just to... It's like... War invariably seems like almost kind of fun, because like here we are playing a game, we're shooting bad guys, we're doing all kinds of stuff, but this is not real war. This is just a video game, and that's one of the things you really got to do. You got to keep this completely separate from anything in reality. In reality, it's probably closer to what, well, it isn't probably, there's no probably about it. It's like Arma, where you can die literally at any time, but it's also worse than that as well. It's really, the thing I never have really understood is how people can actually even fight a war when you think about it, because your average person, you know, is actually not that bad. People don't just sit around wanting to be evil, you know. Even these SS guys we're shooting, they, in their mind, think what they're doing is right, you know. They're fighting for their country. They're answering the call of duty. Now, some of them or, you know, go way beyond what even the Call of Duty would warrant in terms of brutality, but you get the idea. These people aren't technically evil. They don't think they're evil. They think they're right. They think what they're doing is 100% A-okay. Either because someone told them it was, they don't know any better, or something like that. That doesn't excuse it, though. Unlike what some would want to say. But, you know, that's the thing that you got to keep in mind. These people aren't necessarily evil. You know. But when you think about it, it's like, how can we go to war? Because it's very hard, very, very hard for people to actually want to even hurt others. Now, not everybody's like that, but your average person doesn't want to really hurt anybody, and that was a really bad tactic, dude, climbing up a ladder while somebody's shooting at you. But, you know, people generally don't want to hurt each other. And you can see that all throughout, you know, society. You know, otherwise society would be way worse than it is. And yet, war is all about killing people on a mass scale, and I've just never... I guess if I understood it, I'd be just as crazy as some of those politicians are. But really, that's one of the things about war you got to keep in mind. You know, these guys were fighting. Some of them might have been all like, yeah, let's go, let's kill everybody. But likely, you know, they're ordered to do it. They don't really have much of a choice. Now, they did have a choice, you know, in terms of, you know, maybe we shouldn't slaughter all these civilians, you know, something like that. But a lot of these guys don't have a choice. It's either you are conscripted by the military or you get shot. Or you go to jail or something like that. So they're not evil. I think well, see, once again, though, knowing what I know, some of them really were evil. But most of the time, the true evil ones are always the politicians. Who, you know, they want more land, and how many people they gotta kill, well, that's just what you gotta do. You can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. And the sad part is, it hasn't changed! It hasn't changed since the very first bloody civilization, you know, it still just boggles the mind how it works. It'd be nice if people just said, okay, you know what, maybe we shouldn't, you know, try to kill people en masse. Maybe we shouldn't do that. And these guys were pretty bloody brave, even if they were evil scientists, to try to take on BJ with just pistols. And a lot of those notes are actually pretty bloody hilarious, because they actually bring up the other issue with war. Bureaucratic inefficiency, but that's the boring side of war. And yeah, we got 3 health and saved, what of it? But that's the thing, you know, like Death's Head, who's the main villain of the game, he's evil, but your average troop here, likely not so evil. They might be misguided, they might be, you know, they're following orders. Now, some of them they might be happy to start killing people, because there's always going to be your crazies out there. There's always going to be your, you know, hard cases. There's always people like that. But on the whole, we don't know what average, you know, German soldier we're fighting is thinking, because he's just a robot. He's just a bundle of pixels. But in real life, you know, it's like, you can't just say such and such is evil, because we don't know if this guy's evil or not, who we just shot in the head. Because realistic, wow, he tanked a couple of headshots there. I guess you could say he was hard-headed. Da-da-da-da. But anyway, like, you don't know if he was evil or not. You know, as far as he knows, and that's one of the things, as you study, you know, military history, you'll learn, is, you know, loyalty to a cause, ideology, all that kind of breaks down in combat. Because right now, you know, these SS men, even though they are much more ideologically fanatical compared to your average, you know, German troop, like, right now, he's only worried about BJ shooting at him, which is reasonable. And that's really all he's worried about. He's not thinking about, you know, the National Socialist ideology. He knows somebody's shooting at me, I gotta shoot at him, and that's it. And that's really how combat breaks down. It's like, you don't really have time to care about your ideology or even orders half the time. It's just somebody shooting at me, I would like them to stop shooting at me before I get shot myself. And that's one of the things you just gotta learn as time goes on. That's one of the issues. As you learn more, you find you don't know nearly as much as you thought you did. And that's something that a lot of these modern day people really need to learn, is that they don't necessarily know everything that they think they do. And that's just one thing that really annoys me about people these days, is, you know, not everybody knows everything about everything. And I think he's flanking. What? Military tactics, whatever next. Soon we might have AI that can crawl on the ground, like in Fear 1. I would do Fear 1, but that's sadly a very bittersweet game for me. There's so many bittersweet games, which, you know, you might think, like, that might seem bad, but to me it's like, well, that means that I was able to enjoy these games with someone else, and now it's bittersweet. Because it's like, it would just be worse to me if there weren't as many bittersweet games. Because I'm quite mad, you know. Okay, I think I know how to get in there, I think. Because I've gotten in there before. A secret area, a secret place. I think we gotta we gotta jump across to one of those catwalks, and then we can grab the health and ammo. I think there's some health in here, I want to say. Yep, give me all that sweet sausage. I mean, okay, that came out wrong. That was weird. BJ likes sucking some sausage. I mean, wow, that was terrible. I find it funny. I can go from talking about the concepts of combat to random jokes about BJ sucking down some sausage. Hey, he was hungry. Wow, that's even worse. Let's see. I think there's something in here. And I don't remember what that did. Oh, that opened up a door down here, I think. Yeah, it did. Okay, that opened up the elevator. Now, we're almost done with the level. But what I want to do is I want to actually jump and miss. And I want to try to get over here. So maybe there's a switch we have to hit? I don't remember. Or maybe Because what we have to do is we have to get over to that platform, activate this thing, which does something. Maybe like we gotta jump up here. Jump! Yeah, that's what we had to do. Okay, and then we activate that. That moves over there. And I'm not sure why that goes over there, because I think we could figure out a way back. But ultimately, secret areas, ladies and gentlemen. Smashy, smashy! Now, you would think there'd be bulletproof glass, but hey. Like, you gotta love classic games with secrets. It's like, that's one of the big problems with modern day first-person shooters. There's just never enough. Well, one game that I'm playing, and I'm thinking about reviewing that next year. I finally got my hands on a copy of The Evil Within, because that was another game. That was a game directed by Shinji Mikami, and I like his games. And it looks like it's gonna be pretty good. But any more discussion on that game, I'll have to wait until the next episode because we have reached the exit. And so I am GeneralLotz, wishing you good studying, good night.